Welcome to the Monarch Group Podcast. Today's guest is RC Rogers from Prudential Heating and Air. RC is one of those people who knows HVACs inside and out. But more than that, he's built a reputation for being honest, helpful, and genuinely focused on doing right by homeowners. From buying a house to maintaining an older system to avoiding costly breakdowns, RC brings the kind of insight that can save you time, money, and stress. Hello.
Hello. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no, glad you're here. How's your day going?
It's been well. We finally got a little break in the weather, so it's been a little relief.
Yeah, we definitely needed that. I was putting out a sign this morning, and it was great because 2 days ago I put a sign out. I was dripping with sweat. We've got the big ones that you have to like hammer in. Yeah. And I was miserable. It was not good. So yeah, very happy for this weather change. It's good.
I mean, we're crawling around in attics and crawl spaces, it gets brutal sometimes. It's just part of it.
Yeah, that's why can't we just be like a winter or fall profession? Like just log all your appointments for then.
If the weather was perfect, though, nobody would need us. So we'd be out of business quick if it was 70 and beautiful all day.
Yeah, you got to be a love-hate relationship with the weather. Then I get that. Yeah. Well, love to start off. Talk a little bit about you, your background, where you're from, and give it a start.
Yeah, I grew up here in Louisville. Moved back 10 years ago. Graduated from Trinity, and then went to UK for a year, and then just decided I didn't really enjoy school from kindergarten all the way up, and actually went to technical school. The University of Kentucky paid for my technical school while I was working for their housing department. So kind of grew up and came from kind of a handy family, and so kind of learned things as I got older, and was working for their housing department doing plumbing, electrical, a little heating, air. Not perfect or overly skilled in any of those things, but went to heating and air conditioning school, and just thrived from there on out. It was awesome. It was really great to go to school, and then after school was over, I would go to work and use the same information and tools that I learned the previous in the day. So it was awesome.
Yeah, that's how I was not expecting that background.
And it's been almost like 20 years ago. So.
What did you go to college for? What your 1 year that you went to college for? What was that for?
I had no idea. I business management. I was like, I'll find something to do with that.
I got business as well, and that's the thing. You're just like, it's so wide. It can go to anything.
Yeah.
And then, so how did you, when you're going through that, did you have to pick HVAC, or were you just drawn to that rather than the electric or the plumbing?
Well, they had a heating and air conditioning guy that was getting older, and they offered to pay for that, and I knew that. And a little bit about plumbing, a little bit electric, but the one thing that we really had difficulty repairing on our shift was the HVAC unit. So I was like, I'll learn about this, and it was awesome. I mean, it was show up here, take this apart, put this back together, and do it again, and that's what your grade's on. And it was awesome. I mean, I struggled to get C's growing up, and to get A's was awesome, and helped with confidence and everything else. It was good.
Yeah, that's a good intro into it, and especially what you were saying a second ago about actually putting in what you learned into your job. Because I know that for me, business degree, there's so many things that I learned. I'm like, I'm never going to touch that again. But it's nice you can actually put like evidence to it, like, hey, I know exactly what that is because I'm going to go do that later on, or I did that, yesterday. That's a very rewarding feeling, and it's I was about to say I lost my train of thought for there, but that's just, I think it's interesting to trades. That's what I was going to say. Yeah. Trades have become so much more beneficial to go through, and like you said 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So that was like at the start where people really started talking like trades is where you need to go, because like regular colleges, so many people go and just waste 4 years of their life, and you were working and learning, and that's a great start to it.
Yeah, it was great.
Did you go straight to like how long have you been with Prudential now?
10 years. So June 15th was 10 years with me at Prudential, and I moved back like 2 months after I started working there. So I was living in Northern Kentucky, and I was commuting for a couple months while we were buying a house. And so that was a fun couple months, but it's been good.
What made you choose Prudential?
I've got a friend of mine that his dad does continuing education for journeymen. So you got to have a journeyman's license to be able to go to a house and actually like do the work in the house. And I called him because I didn't really know any heating and air companies in Louisville, and he gave me a list of a few. And he told me, he's like, you won't get a job at Prudential unless you go back to being a service tech. He said, because their project managers don't leave. And then that was like, well, that's where I have to work. And so called basically the owner over and over and over and over again. I mean, dozens of times, sending resumes in, calling the office. But a friend of mine worked for a body shop here locally that Prudential happened to get their vans fixed in, and he got me that guy's business card with his cell phone and personal email address on it. And so that helped. So I just started sending like my sales numbers and calling constantly. I was like, he's either going to call me back and tell me to stop calling, or he'll give me a shot. So
and either way, as long as he calls back, then it's a win for you. Then
find
you put
out.
in.
Yeah.
So what is it about Prudential that makes them so great? I mean, they've been around for a long time. So now you've been there for 10 years. What is their big selling?
The big thing is the same family that started this company in 1947 still runs it. And so you can't say that about a lot of companies. A lot of people have a name that's been around for a long time, but it's been bought and sold. And so the same family that started the company from the very beginning still runs it. We're one location. We're not a big corporate company that's owned by somebody, somewhere else in the country. And they take really good care of their employees. And so that was always a big thing to me, is coming to work and find a place that when I'm going out and saying, hey, we're the best, really believe in it. So I think that comes across.
Yeah, and that's great. Taking care of the employees is such a big thing, because I've being in the industry, I've worked with different trades, and you see some employees that are just miserable, and that translates to then how they do the job.
Yeah.
And if they're happy with where they work, obviously it's going to then translate to the customer. So taking care of the employees is so important these days.
Our industry and the trade industry as a whole has kind of switched to a sales mindset, and we are really against that almost to a fault. So it's when our service tech comes out, his job is to fix it and not try to get you to buy something. And so we're pretty low pressure approach, but we're very repair minded, and there's not a lot of repair minded companies left out there, in my opinion. Most of it's, hey, it's too old, you need to fix it.
Okay.
So
and that changes,
you need to replace it.
And that changes, like, because it's you do the repair and then it comes back around, because they're like, hey, I was treated so great with the repair and was not forced into buying a whole new system. When the time comes they need a new system, they're going to remember you more than just the person who tried to sell them a whole new system when it wasn't needed.
Sure. Yeah, there's 100 heating and air companies in Louisville, and the other day I looked through the Better Business Bureau and they're all rated an A. So how do you say that we're different? And so we want to make a customer and have a customer forever, and eventually they're going to need a new unit. When that happens, I hope they pick us.
Yeah. I would recommend they pick you as well.
I appreciate it.
So what's your day to day now? So you started off as a service tech, you said, to go through Prudential, and now are you?
Well, I started off when I was living in Northern Kentucky. That's kind of really started my career. After heating and air school, I moved up to the Northern Kentucky area and started with a company in Cincinnati in the installation department, and then worked my way into like the service as a service tech, and then got an opportunity to be a project manager and do a little bit of everything. So help with ductwork design and airflow, and if somebody calls in and say, I want to get an estimate, they'd send me out. And that's what I've been doing with Prudential the whole time, has been a project manager.
And what's your day to day look like as a project manager?
It's kind of fun because it's a little bit of everything all day. Some of it is, hey, I just called you, I found you on Google, or my neighbor referred me, and I need to get an estimate to have my furnace changed. Some of it is, hey, I'm having a problem. We've been getting a lot of calls where people have really high humidity in the house that they've seen more this year than previous years. So that's probably my favorite, is just trying to find complex problems. Some of them don't have anything to do with heating and air conditioning. They can usually be solved by heating and air conditioning, but just love getting in attics and trying to figure out why a house is operating the way it is, so we can kind of come up with a solution.
And so you say humidity, what are the common things you're seeing? So you've got humidity, what are the common things you're seeing in the Louisville area at the moment?
The big thing is hot and cold spots. So I concentrate a lot in airflow. All the equipment that we put in, all those efficiencies happen one time in a lab under perfect conditions. So what we try to do is try to figure out, are there some small things that we can do with maybe a homeowner's ductwork to really make the house heat and cool a lot more efficiently without completely starting over. Of course, we could completely start over too. We do a lot of custom, brand new builds, but just trying to find some small tweaks that we can make to make the house heat and cool a lot more evenly and more comfortably.
Okay, and we all know that your busy period is right as it starts to get
right
warm,
and
right when it starts to get cold. That's why everyone's changing their systems, and then it's like, hey, this isn't working, and it's very cold or very warm in here.
If you walk outside and it is not comfortable, hot or cold, we are very busy. If you go outside and it's a beautiful 70-degree day, then we're steady, because we stay steady all year, but it is it's not so bad.
And I know a lot of the issues that people run into is weather related. What are some of the mistakes you're seeing homeowners do that are harming or damaging their systems, or maybe not making it run as efficiently?
So a lot of people are just geared to saving money on the utility bill. They'll turn the system off when they go to work. and then they come home and turn it on, and then they just sit in a hot house for like 4 or 5 hours, sometimes longer, just to try to get it back where it needs to be. And if the unit breaks, then it breaks when it's 85 degrees in the house instead of when it's 75. So really recommend. I mean, if you're going to program it, that's fine to save some on your utility costs, but just go like 3 or 4 degrees. Don't go 10 or 15. Another thing is filters. I know people talk about that all the time, but just check your filter. I'd love to know the data, but a substantial amount of calls that we get are from poor filters. And a lot of people change them right before we get there, which and they say, "Oh, it's clean," but usually we can tell. Small things like that and maintaining it is very important.
Okay, so just for summary on that one, so you're saying like don't completely turn off your system, just change it a few degrees from where you want it to be when you're out, and then it doesn't have to work as hard. Because I'm sure that booting up of working from super hot to get it to super cold is where it really runs through the system and puts it under too much stress that it really doesn't like to be in.
Correct, because it also raises humidity in the house, which is really difficult. And in the winter, if you're dropping the temperature really low and then you're trying to heat the house up really fast, that can affect your humidity also in the winter when we want to try to keep some humidity back in the house in the winter. So like my house, it stays the same temperature pretty much all year. We've got a temperature we like for the winter and the summer, and we kind of leave it set, and the house stays very comfortable.
What are those temperatures?
I'm a 74 guy in the summer.
74?
But if you keep your humidity right, 74 is really comfortable. At least for me. 72 when we go to sleep, and then in the winter we're between 68 and 70.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's not too bad. You have all those people in the summer who crank it down to like 68 so they can wrap up in blankets.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, we've got a surgeon we work for that's he keeps it at 60, like no matter what.
60.
And we had to put like a commercial style unit in to maintain what he wants. Wow. So if somebody's like, this is what I want, they've already invented it. They came out with it. We can do it. It just sometimes takes some very specific installation to be able to get you what you're asking for. But I mean, we can turn your house into a walk-in fridge if you really want it.
Yeah, that sounds miserable to me. Not for me. I'll just stick with a normal system and normal temperatures.
Yeah, everybody's different. I mean, we've got some people that keep it at 80 in the winter, and you've got to do some certain things to make a furnace really keep a house that hot. But like if somebody has a desire to do something, then they make the equipment to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you just got to problem solve and figure out how.
Yeah, and then they sell the house, and then the next homeowner's got to, that's
like, what the heck is this doing here?
That's a you thing, yeah.
You just passed the problem on. It's like, that's that for them to deal with. You said you were mentioning earlier about consistent temperatures. So if you go in a house and you've got one side of the house that's like really temperature controlled, and the other house isn't quite matching it, how do you go about fixing that?
Usually with airflow. So there's multiple ways to fix it. We fix it with trying to get more air to the uncomfortable part of the house. Whether that's a separate unit, whether we change some ductwork or put in dampers, which allow us to kind of control which way airflow goes, or it's fixed by working on the house itself, which is not really what we do, but we can make recommendations whether they need to insulate more or change a window out, seal that section of the house up more so it doesn't need as much heating and air conditioning. Okay. We can always fix it mechanically by adding more heating and air. Like no matter where you go, you can add more heating and air and it'll be more comfortable. But sometimes we will defer to like an insulation company. If one part of the house is really cold in the winter and we go out there and there's no insulation, then we're going to recommend insulating more than heating air because that's a permanent solution.
Yeah, and that's a testament to you there that you're not just going to say, oh, we need to have a bigger unit. Actually, it's a bigger picture thing. That's great. Right. And I'm sure you have that must become quite difficult when you're in some like the old Louisville houses where they're just not, maybe they didn't even have HVACs when they were first built. Yeah. And so they were all sort of like, I've seen some in Louisville where they're just sort of like stuffed somewhere and they've done the best they could. And I'm sure those ones are kind of interesting for you to see and figure out.
Those are really, really fun. I mean, they're really difficult, but that's kind of where we shine, I think, is just trying to come up with a solution. There's, like I said, 100 heating and air companies in Louisville. And so it's a lot of people are just put something bigger in. And a lot of times we can fix some really interesting problems.
Those are the fun ones for you.
Yeah.
So outside of keeping your filter changed, which obviously that's how often should you change? I'm sure it's dependent on the filter, right? But also
depends on the filter, depends on the house. Like we've got a filter system in our house that's supposed to last a year, but with a dog and a cat, we get about 7 or 8 months before we change our filter. But we have a large kind of a media style filter in our house. Some people use the smaller 1-inch filters. Even if they say they last 3 or 4 months, I check them every month. Check them. There's a lot of different filter options, and there's a lot of different houses, but some people have their returns closer to the floor, and it sucks more dust and things in. Some are closer to the ceiling, so it doesn't get as dusty. It's just every house is a little bit different. But
so rather than having like a schedule, really you should like just check it regularly, and if it needs changing, change it. If not, wait
like
for the next
if
time.
you're set a reminder. If you're paying your utility bill, check your filter. Or if you have a filter that's going to last closer to the 6 month, when you're switching it to heat and cool, go check your filter.
Okay.
And then always have a few extra sitting by there, because if you go see it, it's dirty, but I don't have one, then you have to remember to go get it. Just every time you buy them, buy a few.
Yeah, I'm guilty for that. There's been a few times where I need to change mine, but I've got none on hand, and then it slips my mind. But that's why Amazon auto subscribe. That's why you just go have them automatically ship it every few months, and then
absolutely.
So we've got not changing the temperature too often or too drastically, keeping it consistent, changing the air filter. Is there anything else homeowners can do to prolong the life of their systems or make them run more efficiently?
Really just have them maintained. So we've got customers every year that call us, or we call them, and we have an annual maintenance program when we come out twice a year and do detailed cleanings on their equipment to make sure it's working the way that's supposed to. That's even important when the equipment is newer under a warranty, because a lot of times you can find issues before they become problems, and then you're not without air. So if we find a part that's not working the way it's supposed to and it hasn't broken yet, sometimes we can change that out, and a lot of times under a warranty, so that they're not without air. So they don't have to wait till 4th of July weekend and say, hey, I need you, when everybody else calls all at the same time. We can try to prevent the breakdowns before they happen.
Right, got it. And is there how often should you have a system serviced?
We recommend yearly.
Yearly, just for the whole system, or
we typically do a spring and a fall tune-up. So as long as you're getting your furnace done and your air conditioner done every year, it usually really prolongs the life of your equipment.
Okay, and if someone's bought a house, let's say, and it was a system that was not installed by Prudential under warranty, if you come and service it, does that still keep the warranty, or does it have to be the company that installed it?
Sure. I mean, most manufacturers offer a 10-year warranty. There's some fine print with some of that, but most manufacturers offer either a 5 or 10-year warranty on the equipment itself, and we do warranty work for every brand. So if you have a piece of equipment that we don't typically install, we've got training on all of it.
Okay.
Our service techs, even complicated thermostats on their iPad, they can pull up the installation manual for about every thermostat that's ever been installed. So we stay up on track for a lot of things.
Okay. What voids the warranty? Is there anything that voids the warranty? Like if someone hasn't been as regular with their servicing, does that void the warranty?
It can. There's fine print in a lot of different manufacturers for certain warranties. Most manufacturers aren't asking what's the condition of the equipment. I need all your maintenance records. They can, but that's a pretty uncommon thing. They call them acts of God, basically floods and lightning strikes and things like that. Typically are not covered under warranty. There's a few things like that, or just neglect. If the system's been sitting in your basement and the filter's never been changed and everything's impacted with dust and debris, it's going to take a little bit more than changing a part to get it running again. So some of that can, but for the most part, it's pretty clear.
Okay, well, that's good to know, because I'm sure, because I know there's people out there who do let it go too long before changing the filter, before servicing it. As long as they're doing something, at least that's not completely voiding the warranty.
If you've got pretty good intentions, usually you're okay.
Okay,
yeah,
good. That's good to know. Yeah, I'm like, goodness. If other than extreme heat, what are some of the signs that a homeowner could be looking for or notice that maybe something's wrong with their system? I'm assuming clunking noises would be an obvious one, but have you got a top list of what people should be looking for or could be?
Sometimes they just stop and there's no notice. But a lot of times if you start seeing spikes in utility bills or the thermostat, it's not keeping up winter or summer, or you hear your furnace turn on and off, on and off, on and off. Equipment now a lot of times is so quiet that sometimes you don't even hear that. But squeaking noises or raises in utility bills, just kind of keep an eye on things and try to get ahead of it.
Okay, just things out of the ordinary.
Sure. Yeah, and sometimes that's really hard to notice. That's why we recommend maintenance, because we can come by and let it run for a while and sit there right next to it and look at everything electronically and make sure it's working right.
Right.
Because everything's designed now to try to be quieter and quieter and quieter, and sometimes you don't notice those
Yeah,
things.
and some homeowners, I'm sure, would be like, hear a noise and just not even notice it. But as soon as you hear it, you're
Sure.
like, I know what that means. Like
Sure.
that's not
Sure.
good. Let's get that taken care of real
Yeah,
quick.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt to go out and just take a look at your air conditioner in the summer on a hot day. They're making houses so insulated now that you're not hearing what's happening outside as much as you used to with some of the older houses. So just go look at it. Go stand next to the furnace when it lights. Make sure it doesn't make any weird noises. And if it does, just try to get ahead of it.
I live in the Highlands in an older place, and I can tell when my neighbors is running. They've got a
Yeah.
very loud unit. I'm like, someone needs to go and take care of that one. Like, you need to. It's very, very, very loud. Yeah, just keep me up at night.
Yeah, and the houses are close enough together that noise between those buildings really radiates some of that sound.
It does, it really does. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
that firsthand. It really does. When people come to buy a house, people always want to know, like on the seller disclosure, one of the important things is age of the system.
Yeah.
Outside of age, what can homeowners look for when buying a new house with their HVAC system?
Was a permit pulled? We see that a lot where systems are being installed without pulling a permit. In Jefferson County, it's very, very important, and it's required to pull a permit to do the job. So they can look at that and find out when it was installed. That's public knowledge. You can get online and actually look up and see if a permit was pulled and when the installation was done. So that helps try to find out the age of equipment, and then ask for maintenance records. But definitely get an inspection done. I mean, sometimes the home inspector will go through all those things, but it doesn't hurt to have a separate inspection done or ask for some maintenance records. Like, hey, has anybody been out here and checked this unit? Because sometimes units are band-aided before they sell the house, and then they find out on that first hot day that it was band-aided and now it's not working again.
And that's a big problem to run into, and not a good thing.
Yeah.
If when they're going through that inspection period, rather than having the home inspector look at it, or they do, what would the cost be for you to come out, or want someone from Prudential to come and take a look at it and just give a quick run through of like how the system is?
Sure, it just depends if they want to have it like serviced and cleaned while we're there, or if they just want an inspection done. I don't know the exact cost, but it's probably in the neighborhood of $150 or $200 to do a full inspection on the heating and air conditioning system, and like write a report to find out exactly how it's operating.
Okay, and then when you compare a $200 bill to like an $8,000 to $15,000 install, that's night and day different there.
Yeah.
And on the flip side of that, with home sellers getting ready to sell their home, what are some quick tips that you give them if they're getting ready to put their home on the market?
That's the best thing for them to do is just pay for a tune-up. If they're on a maintenance program, just put a copy of that next to the furnace. The home inspectors can see that. That alleviates some concerns with the home inspectors, or just have some information there to know that, hey, everything's been maintained and taken care of.
Okay, and that definitely alleviates the buyers as well. I mean, it gives the sellers a peace of mind that they know that nothing should come up on the home inspection. Obviously, anything can happen, but it definitely could give them the peace of mind. And then when buyers are coming through, that's a beneficial thing for them as well, because a lot of buyers, when you see unknown on the seller disclosure for the HVAC, they're like, okay, well, I'll start budgeting that money out then. Which it's quite costly these days to install, because I mean, units have been changing. So I mean, I'm sure you've seen how much they've changed over the years. What have been the biggest changes in systems other than being quiet, like you mentioned? What are the big changes that they've had?
There's been a ton of regulations in our industry that have changed quite a bit. So Department of Energy changed some guidelines a few years ago to increase the minimum efficiencies of equipment. So it basically made everybody, their standard unit, become more energy efficient, which of course raised costs. And then the EPA just changed all the guidelines in January. So all the air conditioners run on a completely different refrigerant now, which changed a lot of guidelines and installation practices and things like that. And so things are constantly changing. And here in a few more years, the furnaces guidelines will change to where you're not allowed to put an 80% furnace in a house. And they've talked about doing that in the past, but it never kind of came to fruition. So we'll see if it happens.
What's it going to be?
So if you have a furnace, say like in an attic, most furnaces in attics are considered 80% furnaces. They vent out in like a metal exhaust pipe, and they're trying to make all furnaces high efficiency, which would vent in PVC, which you cannot put in attics or unconditioned spaces. So it's going to add a level of complexity to some of the installations here if that happens.
So 2 questions on that. Break down what does that percentage mean? That 80%. What is that percentage?
So like what you spend on your utility bill. So if your furnace is 80% efficient, 80 cents of your dollar roughly goes to heating your house, and 20 cents is wasted outside.
Got it. Okay.
So the higher the number, they start about 80% efficient now, and they go up to 99%, depending on what level of furnace you want to put in.
Okay. And then, so those people I know in Louisville, there's a ton of people who've got HVACs in their attic space because it's the only place what are they going to do?
So they'll either have to build a room around the furnace and insulate that room, move the furnace into like a closet on the second floor, spray foam their attic, which is, a viable option. But instead of changing a furnace out for, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, it's going to add a level of work for a contractor to be done, to do something like that.
Wow. So all those people, not only is their system going to go out, they then will have to combat either moving it, building a room like that.
Or change that furnace out right before the law comes into play.
And be ahead of the curve and leave it to the next person.
For the next, be good for the next 15 or 20 years.
Oh, God, that's going to be.
Yeah.
When's that supposed to happen?
I'll have to look it up. I think it's 3 or 4 years from now.
Oh, so still got some time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be very important to know, especially because I know a lot of clients like in Old Louisville. I help a lot of people there, and a lot of them have got those sorts of styles. So letting them know, hey, if you're buying a house here and your system's older, then you can anticipate, you're going to have to start planning that out. That's great information.
So of course, things in Washington can change lots of different things and rules and things like that. So we'll see what really happens. It's scheduled already, but I'm sure if you're on our mailing list, we'll be sending a lot of information out to a lot of customers, a year or two previous, so people can be prepared for it.
Yeah, and the Monarch Group will definitely want to copy that because we need to send it out to all our people as well, and that'd be great information. Little side question on system switch. This is just curious. It might not, but two things. One, does it make a difference if a system is horizontal or vertical?
Yeah. Furnaces and attics and things like that, a lot of times are laying on their side because of space constraints, but they make equipment to do really anything.
Okay, it's not like a negative that is a horizontal. No. They're built fine to be like that.
No, it makes installation a little bit more difficult sometimes, but and there's some safety procedures that we put in to prevent water from like leaking through ceilings. We put these big pans underneath there for safety reasons, so water doesn't, if it were to overflow, but no, equipment's made to do that.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And then what do you prefer of basement or attic? It's a space.
Basement every day.
Basement every day. Is that just because it's easier to install, or there's certain benefits to it as well?
It's easier to install. That's the way most equipment is kind of designed to be installed, so it's usually less expensive. And it really kind of simplifies things. Okay. I mean, you're setting a unit on a concrete floor and leveling everything out. It just makes everything a little bit easier.
Okay, and it's a lot easier for the homeowner to go into the basement or the crawl space than having to climb up into the attic and change their filter.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, and with those changes, Louisville, is it the HVACs now? Are there different levels of efficiency, and do you recommend a certain efficiency for the Louisville area? Like, is the maximum efficiency recommended here, or would you be okay getting a slightly less efficient?
It just depends on why you're buying efficiency. Some people are buying it to reduce your utility costs, and there's usually a level to where you're spending more than what your true payback is, because we pay a pretty low electric and gas rate compared to the rest of the country. So if you're doing it just on return on investment, maybe the highest end unit is not going to pay for itself in its lifespan, but some people are doing it to just conserve energy and going green. And so there's just an absolute ton of options. Also, the more efficient you go, they usually get quieter inside and outside, and they've got more features for better dehumidification and removing more moisture from the air, evening temperatures out. So really, the higher end, more efficient you go, there's usually some extra things you get along the way. But we've got, with a few different manufacturers we work with, every manufacturer has 7 or 8 different levels of equipment, so you can really dial in depending on what somebody needs. If they want to go kind of top of the line, or they want to be as budget conscious as possible, or they've got a piece of rental property, or we've got options really for everybody.
Nice. It's nice to have that flexibility and not have to be calling into, you've got to get the most expensive one. It's what works for you and your system.
Yeah. We try to be as transparent as possible and let people know, here there's tons of options. Let us figure out what's necessary to do the work. And then once we figure out what kind of work is needed to be done, then we can kind of put some packages together for them.
Nice.
Whether they want to do just changing the furnace or just changing the air conditioner, they don't always have to be done at the same time.
Is it usually beneficial to do them at the same time, though? It's like for cost and just because it keeps them like on the same level?
Cost-wise, it does save you a little bit doing them together. But if your furnace is 10 years old and your air conditioner goes out, it's rare that I'm recommending also changing the furnace unless the furnace is in really bad shape, because you may have 10 more years life left in doing the furnace. So a lot of people ask for it all at the same time, but we can always give them options both ways. We usually try to make a good recommendation, but if you've got a furnace that's 10 years old or less, usually you can just keep what you have and just kind of separate your financial burden and do them a little bit at a time.
Got it. And there's, I mean, when you say financial burden, it is expensive these days to get systems replaced.
Yeah.
There's a two-part question. Is there any like rebates or any like programs that Kentucky offers for people to take advantage of?
Yeah.
And then Prudential itself, are there any like payment plans, or what can Prudential do?
There's a bunch. So there's manufacturers a lot of times have rebates. That's going on right now with most manufacturers. There are federal tax credits that are going on until the end of the year. Everything reads now that a lot of those federal tax credits are going to go away at the end of the year. LG.
Before you move on, federal tax credit, break that down, because I know that's a lot of people will probably be interested in that.
Like gas furnaces, there's a federal tax credit on gas furnaces, air conditioners, and heat pumps. They're anywhere from $600 to $2,000,
wow,
depending on what system you put in. And then there's a geothermal tax credit that's 30% of your full installation cost. So that's kind of a foreign concept to a lot of people, but basically you're using the Earth's temperature to heat and cool your house. It's the most efficient way to do it, but the initial cost is quite high. But there's a 30% tax credit for geothermal. So and we do quite a bit of geothermal work and installation, and that tax credit is planning to go away.
Wow. Okay. At the end of this year, or
end of the year?
Okay, and that's at 60 to even the 600 to 2,000 is a huge chunk of saving. Like that's a lot of money, like for people to be saving on even just the regular systems.
Yeah, you can get $600 for a furnace. You can get $600 for an air conditioner. And then it's 30% up to $2,000 on heat pumps and mini splits.
Okay. And how do they do that? Do they go through you for that? Like, do you have the forms, or what?
Yeah, we do. We've sat down with some CPAs to make sure we're giving proper information to people. But we have forms that have like the tax credit code and the IRS form number that we can give to people. And then usually every February I'm flooded by calls from CPAs from people saying, hey, my client did this. What do I need to do? But it's been out for a few years now. Okay. So every year there's less and less phone calls with questions about it. We let them know that this qualifies and can give them all the documentation they need.
And is that going away, or is it just the geothermal one going away?
I believe all of them are going away.
All of them, okay. Yeah. And complete, not just a reduction, they're going like no zero.
Correct. Correct. Wow. It's going to end. So they were supposed to go on till, I wish I had this in front of me, 2030 something. But with the new code, I believe they're all ending at the end of the year.
Okay, so this, for anyone listening out there, call RC this year before the end of the year, and I'm assuming just install has to happen before the end of the year to still receive the tax. Okay, so call him this year before it's too late. Take advantage of that. Sorry to interrupt you going through those.
No, you're good.
I know that one's like a lot of people would take advantage of that sort of stuff.
Correct.
So what are the programs or rebates are there out there?
So LG&E's got a rebate program going on for heat pumps, air conditioners, and furnaces. So you can get $500 or $600 or so, depending on what kind of system you put in from LG&E. And then we've got a ton of financing options. So a lot of people, it's not affordable for them to say, I have to replace this, or this happens in a time that they're not prepared for. So we've got a lot of 0% program options, so they can break it up over a couple years without interest. We also have some low interest rates that go out 5 and 10 years. So they can kind of keep their payment as low as possible.
Nice. Because that's the thing. A lot of people probably can afford a monthly payment, just don't have a lot in their savings. I mean, things are tough right now for people, and definitely takes the edge off. All of those rebates and tax, can people use them all at once? Like, so they could get the manufacturer's warrant rebate, they could get the tax credit, and then get the LG&E. They could use all of those.
Correct. Yeah, we're just we're getting to do an installation tomorrow. He'll get $2,000 as a federal tax credit. He's getting $1,200 from Lennox, and then he's getting like $500 or $600 from LG&E. And he's going to separate his financial burden over the next 2 years. So he'll get a lot of that stuff back before he's really having to make a lot of payments.
Wow.
So
that's awesome.
It helps out. And even to somebody that has the money just sitting there in the bank, not pulling it out of the bank all at once, they can separate that over a couple of years.
Yeah. And you get a brand new system at the end of the day as well, so you feel more comfortable in your home.
Yeah.
That's an all right. That's a huge win there. That's a big story. Yeah. Do you does Prudential also do like ductwork cleaning? And
we do.
What are the different types of clean that you go on? Because I know it's not just cleaning out the dust. I mean, there's like I'll let you explain it, because I've got something in my mind. I just can't remember what the name is off the top of my head.
Yeah, if somebody calls in and says they want to clean their ductwork, I would typically go by and look inside the ductwork and kind of see what kind of condition it's in. I bet 50% of the calls that I run for that, I show them what kind of condition it's in, and it's better than what they thought, and so they don't end up doing anything at all.
Okay.
Some ductwork can be cleaned better than others. So there's some like flexible duct and things like that. We don't recommend cleaning, because to bring brushes and high pressure air can damage that while we're doing it. So we won't clean some things. Sometimes you can fix things by better air filtration, by using better filter systems to prevent that dust from accumulating in your ductwork. So there's just a ton of options.
Okay.
I mean, we have dozens of different filter options depending on what people's needs are, from simple dust and allergies all the way up to like hospital grade air filtration. They make just about everything you can imagine now.
Does that affect the efficiency of the system, or how well the air can flow through? Like, will it cost more for the stronger the filter?
100%. It needs to be sized and installed properly. So if it's sized and installed properly, then it should make an impact on the house. But just going to your local box store and buying, a $30 1-inch filter and putting it in there, it's almost like putting a piece of cardboard in there. Cardboard would catch everything, but it doesn't allow air to get through it. So be very careful what you're just reading on the box, because sometimes you can do more damage than good.
Okay, because I go for the one where it's got like I can't remember what is it, MERS or
MERV, yeah.
MERV, yeah. So I picked the highest number on that one because I'm like, that's going to keep out most of the stuff. Is that the right thing to do?
I would say your health is more important than your furnace, but if you're looking at it from the life expectancy of your heating and air equipment, that's usually not the right way to go, unless your ductwork sized accordingly to put those in there.
Got it. Okay.
So if you ever do a service, ask the tech that comes by, and they'll measure your ductwork and look and see what the best filter is for your heating and air system.
Okay.
So
we're never going to the side after that.
We're never going to say not to use a really high end filter, but sometimes it does a lot of damage to your equipment.
You got to find the right balance.
Yeah,
there.
There's always a balance.
So working in the Louisville area, what do you love about working in this area?
All the seasons. I mean, this year we had a really long spring, I think, and then all of a sudden it just hit out of nowhere. Allergies are really bad here.
Don't get me started on that. I never had allergies until I moved here, and I was like, this is miserable. This is awful. What is happening to me right now?
It's constant. It's constant. And we're good at like controlling it in the house, but when you walk outside, like we have nothing that we can do for you.
I mean, you see it all over your car and everything. Like it's miserable. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. I get them really bad, and I'm just take a pill almost every day. Just try to get through it.
Yeah.
Just love the area. Grew up in the area. When I moved away after high school and went to college and then up to Northern Kentucky, I always wanted to come back here and raise my kids here. I got an 8 and 11-year-old, and so it's fun. It's fun. I love it here. I'm assistant coach for both their baseball teams, and it's just a blast.
Yeah. It's a great city to live in. There's so many different things to do. What area of town do you live in?
I live over off Shelby Road in Hurstbourne area, off Dorsey.
Okay, love that area. Yeah, it's a great area over there.
Yeah,
I just sold a house over there not too long ago.
Yeah, you're everywhere.
trying to be. Every now and then, at least on social media, maybe. You see me more on there these days.
Yeah, I see your signs out. I'm all over town all the time, and I'm starting to see your signs a lot.
I know you go to a lot more. There's so many houses, so I know you do hit all the areas of town. And then I always have to ask this one: favorite restaurant in Louisville?
Ooh, that's tough.
It's really tough in Louisville. That's a hard question.
That's really, really tough. I like Les Moo a lot.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
We ate at Noah's Kitchen yesterday, and that was fantastic. It's a new place over next to Cabela's.
Okay.
Over in that area, and it was fantastic.
What type of food do they have?
A little bit of everything. Like you can go there and get breakfast all day. They've got really good pizzas. What did I get? I got steak and eggs for dinner last night, which was really good.
Yeah.
My dad had a burger. He really liked it. They donate a lot of their, or basically all their proceeds go to some really unbelievable charities.
Wow.
I know the owner over there. He's awesome, but that food over there was really good.
Okay. I'll have to add that to my list. I've not been there, so I'll add that.
Connors is great. We love Connors. A little everything.
Yeah, it's tough. Like Jenny, if I would let you go, I'm sure you could go for a good 20 minutes of just going through all the different places because there's so many in Louisville. It's almost overwhelming. Like if someone's like, "Hey, let's go get lunch," and I'm like, "Oh, here we go again." Like it's like where?
Or that place closed and a new one opened up next to it. It's like, oh, you got to try this, and so like there's it's never ending.
Yeah, I do love that though as well because I always like local. I love anything local is always good, and there's so many good local places in Louisville, and they do a great job of it. So. I always have to ask those questions.
Yeah, what's yours? Do you have one?
My favorite, that if I had one, would be Braserio's down in 4th Street. It's the Brazilian steakhouse.
Okay, I haven't been there.
It's amazing. I love buffet style, and it's not quite buffet. It's all you can eat.
Yeah,
and it's some of the best cooked meat I've ever had. It's amazing. I did go to Repeal the other day for my birthday, and that was phenomenal. That was the first time I've been there, and that was great. But those are like treats, like every now and then. But if I had it's
not a go for lunch.
No. Yeah. If I had one plate, I can't.
Yeah,
it depends on my mood. Like I had some tacos earlier, and that was great. But it just depends on my mood. There's too many good options for me.
Yeah, go get some sushi, or there's a
I was talking to someone about the to-go sushi. Have you been there on the Grange Road? And when I have the thought of drive-through sushi, I'm like, no, that doesn't sound...
It's like gas station sushi.
Right, but apparently it's like the best in Louisville. Yeah. And I had some friends yesterday, they were like, you need to go. Like, it's the best sushi. I'm like, okay, all right, I'll go get it.
I'll have to try that out.
Yeah. So, but if you get food poisoning, don't blame me. It's not...
I'm come back.
Yeah. Come back on the podcast just to say, I got food poisoning. Yeah. Well, just a last question about HVACs. One quick tip that you can give anyone watching out there for their systems other than calling you.
Yeah. Probably one of our biggest questions that we get is when to replace it.
Good question.
And half our customers do it one way and the other half do it the other way. So it's if you don't mind being super hot in your house for 3 or 4 days before a new one can be installed, I just run it till it dies. If the idea of that sounds awful, which kind of sounds bad to me, like I don't want to sit in my house hot for a long time, try to do it before you have to. And that's a hard thing too, because you don't want to replace something way before it's really needed. But it's always good to be prepared. So if your system's over 15 years old, it's probably time to start at least budgeting and understanding that it's coming. Sometimes, like we just replaced my mom's and it was 27 years old, and it was still running great. I just was like, it's time. And we see systems that are failing at 11 and 12 years old, just right out of warranty. So it's really all over the place. So, but we get that question, and I know our service techs get that question all the time, like, when do I do it? And we're repair minded, but some of our customers I'd rather do it before I have to, so I have reliability. So that's probably our biggest question that we get.
I love that. That was a great, because that's most homeowners, like you said, probably don't think in those sorts of terms. Like most of them just like put it in the back of the mind, change filter every now and then eventually it dies and they call you. But actually having a plan for it, and I'm sure once they get it serviced, they could ask you, and you could be there like, oh, you're still, it's still only 11 years old and it's looking good. Wouldn't worry about it right now. And then sure that conversation changes over time the more servicing that happens.
Sure.
So,
a good tech should be able to give you some ideas, and of course, a lot of these things are sealed up and we physically can't see it, but there's a lot of things that we can do to test equipment and kind of give you an idea.
That's a great summary for that. I love that.
Yeah.
Well,
and techs themselves, we're looking for you. So,
are you looking to hire as well?
We are looking to hire some good journeyman service techs right now. So, if you know anybody or anybody listening is looking to change companies, we'd love to interview some good techs because we are growing, and we'd love to have them.
Yeah, and I know you'd be a great mentor for a lot of people coming across because I know you've got a wealth of knowledge over there.
Love to talk to them.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
So people, for people out there listening, what's the best way they can get hold of you and Prudential?
Yeah, they can call me directly with any questions that they have on my cell phone. It's 502-640-1213. Or they can call us at the office. It's 502-966-5813, our main office line, or find us online or Facebook or whatever else. All of our contact info is on there.
Nice. Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and I want to thank you because I know you've answered a ton of questions for me over the past.
No worries.
Helped out some of my clients, and you've been great. Always responsive and quick, and always have good answers for me. So thank you for your help, and thank you for being here today.
Thanks for picking us.
Absolutely. I hope you enjoyed it.
Awesome. Thanks. It was awesome.
Good. Well, everyone out there, appreciate you watching, and I will see you on the next episode.